Hey, it's Four with Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and...
Sex.
Okay, so today's topic is women, sex, and money.
Yeah.
And it's probably not as sexy as it sounds on the front end. You know what I mean?
It's not.
You're like, oh.
Oh, that's hot.
Then when we get done, they're like, oh. I don't feel horny at all. But working off of one of your tweets, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
So yesterday, this is from Bunny. Generally speaking, unless you are rolling your wife around on a California King covered in $100 bills, money is going to have a negative impact on your sexual relationship because of the difference in the ways men and women process money. And what I found interesting was coming from the female side, I didn't really understand exactly where she was coming from.
Yeah.
Because, and then once we sit down, we were kind of doing a little background on this. She's like, well, you tell me all the time, how men and women are different. And it's true, but when you change the frame of how's a woman seeing this?
Right.
And if you're very specific about the sexual relationship, because a lot of times the guy, he's dealing with very specific non-sexual aspects of it.
Right.
But it does bleed over.
Right.
I mean, how many people, we've talked about that. I mean, it kills marriages.
Well, I was thinking a lot about, and in writing that tweet and the emails and coursework that went with it, I was thinking about guys will gift their wives or girlfriends expensive things. They'll spend tons of money. Give her a great house, give her a great life, give her a great vehicle. That doesn't necessarily translate to sex because she doesn't have any concept of what it took to earn that money or what kind of expenditure that really is. She knows she likes that purse. She knows she likes this car. She knows that her friends are impressed by it, but it doesn't translate to a sexual relationship. That's why I said, unless you're literally rolling her around naked on $100 bills on the biggest bed that they make, she doesn't have a concept of the attachment between a strong sexual relationship and a strong financial stability. Because women, even high earners, even boss babes, even the woman who pays the bills or writes the checks for your family's budget, still does not have more time. No, 9 times out of 10, still does not have a true concept of what money is, how the ebbs and flows work, even on a day-to-day or hour-by-hour basis, how it can flow in and out of the bank account. Because, and one example that I gave was, she's either in one of two stations at any moment of time. She either sees that she has money in the bank account and will spend it, thinking nothing of the fact that there might be 5 different bills that are supposed to come out of that, and maybe that's all that's in there, but she'll spend it. Or she sees that there's very little money in the bank account and be in an absolute panic and think that, and start going, well, we need to pull so-and-so out of tumbling. We need to pull, we need to stop paying for this. And it'll be a lot of times it'll be nickel and dime, temporary kind of things. That aren't really key to the big picture. And she has no concept that there is more money coming in. So women are either lavishly spending or in panic mode.
They're never in the middle.
Never in the middle. Very rare.
And we see the secondary effect on Sunday nights in our fitness business.
Yes.
Because we have the Sunday night cancellations.
Yeah.
Where the first week, every weekend, my first 2 or 3 years in business, I noticed somebody would text, call, email on a Sunday evening to cancel their agreement. Not knowing, it's always a 30-day notice, they'll be billed. And quite often they'd say, hey, I need to cancel immediately. And can I get this month's prorated, or can I get this refunded? It just came out yesterday. And it took me a number of years before I realized it had nothing to do with the training
No.
or the business.
No.
It was they were using it as a bank because they had overspent and a lot on or they come back from vacation.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they need to cancel because they had overspent.
Yeah.
This
They're
is
in
the
panic
easiest
mode.
thing. Exactly.
But
And
like
that
you
was-
teased me about even having the financial footing and understanding that I do, it's when we go out, I'm shocked when it's $100 bill and you're like, oh, honey.
Yeah, and I always, being a single mom and running a household for your whole life, you've ran a household in some manner. And again, I'm guilty of assuming other people know what I know.
Sure.
Or they see things like I see. But we had been together for 4 years, and we're driving down the street, and she said, out of the blue, said, how much did that cost last time? We went to go get sushi. I was like, it's like $100. And you said $100?
We each had like 2 drinks and like an appetizer at the sushi bar.
And I had to explain to Bunny that it always costs $100.
It's always $100.
It's a minimum of $100.
That's essentially the entry fee to
It
get
is.
into one of
It
these.
is. If you don't have more than $100 and ready to go, you can't go.
Yeah.
And it does. If you really do think about it, it's kind of insane. But it's just what's expected, what you need, in this neighborhood and this where we're at.
Yeah.
To get 2 to 4 drinks and an appetizer.
Yeah.
And a tip. Yes, because even just like you said, and that's what I think catches men off guard. They're like, yeah, she owns a business.
Right.
Well, her dad looks at the books, or her ex-husband runs the books. Or she might even run the books but doesn't know what they mean. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
But in this specific thing, would you suggest as to not fuck with your sexual relationship? Just keep money matters away.
Separate. Keep them as separate as possible from your wife, girlfriend, significant other. Yes, 1000%. Because she goes into panic mode. No girl who doesn't feel financially or secure, and financial security is a huge part of a woman's security. No woman who doesn't feel secure is going to feel sexy. So it's critical.
It's the wrong hormones.
There's a reason that old school guys gave their wives a budget or an allowance, for the lack of a better way to put it, that they could spend, and it had to cover this, whatever it was. Go get your nails done. It had to cover a little bit of pampering. It had to cover a little bit of lunch money for the kids, a little treat after school. It had to cover groceries. Like the basic stuff, to where she had a little bit of extra spending money to kind of do Starbucks or whatever. But for the most part, that's what she got, and that's all she got. And it doesn't ever flow with your income.
Up or down.
Yeah. It literally, because if it's $600 a month, just ballparking out there, then that's what she has to spend. And it could be $600 a month for 20 years. Like, quite literally. Because
what they start with is what they end with.
right.
Most of the time.
It works out better that way. The less fluctuation her allowance can have, the better. Mm-hmm. And then whenever men feel like spending a little bit more, then they can gift her something, or they can take her on a shopping trip, or whatever it is. But her money, her allowance money, makes her feel safe. And anything else, any other financial stressors that you're having, any kind of financial ups or downs, need to be kept as far away from her as possible. I see this a lot in family-run businesses where her job, usually not from the start, but eventually becomes something in the bookkeeping area or keeping the tickets or whatever the case may be. Inevitably, she starts becoming a ball of stress. That wife cannot compute this information because she sees a slow month and she thinks they're going bankrupt. She sees a great month and thinks that they're going to buy a new house. It's just constant. It's not a
The
safe
ups
way
and
to-
downs.
The ups and downs are constant.
And it does make practical sense, especially for like professional services, dentistry, doctors, plumbers, HVAC, that the wife comes in and ends up with the books because whoever had them before was like skimming money.
Yeah,
You know,
it's true.
It's a trusting position,
It's true.
you know, but the competency, and you know, it's a well known amongst like men who buy and sell businesses, like the owner will downplay she comes in once or twice a month.
Yeah.
And we give her a salary, but apparently this woman is like the glue that holds the whole goddamn thing together. You know,
Right.
she's got everything up in the air.
Right. Well, and that's not to say that she doesn't do a fine job with the books.
Yeah.
I'm saying
She's going to ride the roller coaster.
in relation to your sexual health and
Yeah.
your relationship,
Keep the money away from her.
it's not healthy.
Right.
It's not
I
a
can see
healthy
that.
way to have a strong sex life.
Well, and I think when you deal with family businesses, a lot of these women, like during COVID, they go, I never knew it, but my husband's the
Circle back.
Let's circle back
Let's
guy.
put a pin in this.
I
and
never
circle
knew
back
it.
to
I never knew it. You know, he's like super competent and like polite and well mannered and, you know, even keeled. And at home, he's like
a
a
tyrant.
firecracker, you know.
Yeah.
And so the way some guys are, especially at salaried positions, they can compartmentalize it.
Right.
And then when you have family businesses that actually support the family,
Right.
and there's no goddamn net, it bleeds over. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
It definitely does.
You know, family money is a whole different thing. Those people are very relaxed. There's a net. What would normally wipe out an entrepreneur, and your kids are eating out of a dumpster. It's a funny story they tell at the ranch.
Right.
You know, so there's different levels to this. But if you're the eating out of a dumpster, which a lot of people are, it bleeds over. It's going to be, you know, I think it has to take a conscious effort for it not to, what would you say, infect the relationships.
And make no mistake, I'm not even suggesting, I understand that when men are under financial stress, that also negatively impacts oftentimes their desire for sex. But from a strictly female standpoint, if a woman does not feel secure, she's not going to feel sexy.
Well, if anything that we've learned in this game
Yeah.
is guys talking about their problems,
Oh, it's
doesn't
not
do any
sexy.
good for anybody.
No.
You know, it makes him think about it more.
Right.
You know, and then if he's talking about it in the evening, it means he's dealing with it in the morning, afternoon, and evening.
Right.
You know, maybe, you know, he kind of just has to say, well, you know, if we have to move, we move.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sometimes in the old days, that was, what are we doing? Well, we're putting the house up for sale because we got to move.
Yeah,
I
we're
lost
gonna
my
move.
job like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
And she's along for the ride.
That's right. But just for the sake of your quality of life and your sexual relationships, keep money away from her purview as much as possible. And it will benefit you because then she feels more secure.
And you may not be able to do it. It's just like any other habit. You have to practice it.
Yeah.
You know, you won't be perfect if you've like shared or if, you know, she's involved in some of the things, but it just takes time.
And if you can move her, if she is keeping the books at your business, at your office, I suggest you find someone else for the role. I truly do. You find other strengths that she has, or she can enter tickets or whatever it might be, but then she doesn't necessarily do
The
the
end result.
money calculating, what the health of the financial business is, things like that.
Yeah.
But that's true for your household budget as well. It's incredibly stressful for women to manage a household budget. Incredibly stressful. They can do it.
And they do it.
They do it quite often, but it's not a healthy thing.
No.
They need to not see any of that.
That's a
Really,
good point.
truly.
Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow in this day and age, especially. And make no mistake, I have always kept my household's budget. So it's not that I haven't done it, but it's a very unsexy thing. And whenever a girl especially can't figure out how to pay, has to choose between two bills to pay or figuring out how to pay both, that the sex is the last thing on her mind.
Yeah.
At least men approach that and go, I'm going to earn this. I could do this to earn this. Women go, I should cut coupons and I should stop.
There's lots of stop.
I should stop taking Billy to soccer. Well, that's not
There's
how it
a lot
works.
of stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of I need to quit.
If women are in charge of the budget, no one's doing anything.
No.
Except when there's money in the account and suddenly she goes splurging.
Yeah.
It's very...
That's funny. Even in my brief marriage, any money problems, everything ended. You know what I mean?
And by the time the benefits of that occur, it's the problem's past.
Or wasn't
That's
even
the thing.
necessary. Exactly. You're like, well, but again, because most money problems are tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Men are not worried about the $35 soccer fee or
right.
or the $300 this or that. It's he needs $10,000 next month.
Right.
I
Exactly.
mean, that's the disconnect. Is
Yeah.
the day-to-day isn't eating you up. It's the big swings.
It's true.
You know.
So we want you to have a healthy sex life. That's why we are discussing this topic. This very unsexy topic. But it's important that you understand the correlation. And just, if you don't believe us, just try it.
Yes.
As with all things in game and attraction, if you don't think it sounds like it would work, just try it.
Test it.
Test it out. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with maybe a friend who is, that they're having a little bit of marital problems or a little bit of financial problems, and maybe the two happen to go hand in hand. We want you to win. Bye!